Hello world, WayofTime here, bringing to you another episode of EEPower. So I think today what we're going to do is focus more on getting to the coding aspect of the system. We've already got one part of the system right here. We got, well, the liquid, well, two types of liquid, so we'll be able to test it better. And we got a rudimentary system over here. Now, the thing with this system is that I'd like to add a little more to it in the sense that, let's see, we're going to need to move that liquid tesseract. That's one of the things we're going to need to do. I'm going to have to focus on, no, that's okay. So, we're going to make two more liquid tesseracts. I put a stack of stuff into the area. That is very helpful, Way. That is very helpful. I put a stack of ender pearls into the molten thing. Molten thing. I am very good at words today. And have gotten two extra liquid tesseracts, and there's enough for two more once I decide to make this. Now, liquid tesseracts currently, what I'm using them for is to have them as valves. They're a bit expensive as valves, but it's much better than having it as a buffer instead, because a buffer only can accept one type of liquid, even though it can work as a valve very well just by substituting this redstone torch as a redstone wire and turning it on and off as I see fit. That's not what we want to do, funnily enough. So, we got two extra liquid tesseracts, and I'm going to change the system slightly. So let's do it like so. We're going to get rid of these liquid conduits, and since they act as valves, but they also have the added benefit of transporting items a long way, in this case liquid instead of items, we can use them as their original purpose. Imagine that. So this setup is eventually going to move to a better location, but for now this is okay. So let's see. We want to have this thing require, I believe, a red... Gonna have to think about that later on, but we can focus on that, well, later on. So the problem I am going to have is, let's see, put this here, and we'll have a liquid tesseract here. This liquid tesseract will function as the from tanks tesseract. So liquid will come from the tanks and go in the input, i.e. from the bottom, in there. Now, another benefit is that it will also try to go into here, but seeing as this will be closed when this is open, i.e. when this is accepting liquid, this will not accept liquid. We'll have to figure out the redstone logic required for that. It will be fine. So when this turns off, this will turn on, allowing all the extra liquid that will be in this pipe to go there, meaning that we won't have to worry about messy stuff like that. So obviously we need a from tank tesseract. So the from tank tesseract, I believe we'll put here. So we'll need a good frequency, and we'll have this as our 30. So from tank, well, there, and set. Okay, so whenever we choose from tank, it'll be good. It'll be 30. Now we'll have to set this as 30 as well. So set it, and it's set. Sorry, we have to go like this and set frequency. So now this is set for 30, and we'll be able to remember what it is quite easily. Now for our 2 tank, we're going to have this as our 2 tank. So our 2 tank will be the 10. And this is our 2 tank transposer, or tesseract, so we'll need to have it as our 2 tank. So we also need to save it as our 2 tank. I am still working on remembering the layout of this GUI, so please, just remember me. Okay, so this is now 2 tank. It'll put everything to the tank, as well as this is 2 tank. Now this is 2 transposer, and we'll set this as a frequency of 10. No, that's 10 is to take. To transposer will be our 20. Set. So now our to transposer, we'll set it as such. Okay, so now everything will know, and this requires a low. This requires a low, so it's on by default. And do we want it on by default? No, I do not think we do. So this will be our redstone input from an outside source. So when we have our red power computer set up, we'll have it like this. So this will be a redstone signal, and we'll want it to be enabled when it's low. Do we? We want to enable it when it's high, and thus enable this when it's low. And this we'll want to enable when it's high, so that it'll be opposite from this, so we can just rewire it like that, and we'll be good. We'll fancy this up by closing some of that, and we'll put covers eventually when it's there, though this system is going to go underground, and that's going to stay up above ground in some sort of fashion. So now we're going to want to have this controllable in some sort of fashion. Though there's another thing we're going to also want to control, and that is the item that is going to end up in this liquid transposer. We don't want any old item. So there are a few possible ways to add items, so to speak, into this. And what I'm talking about are all the different cans. So if we look at water, we will have a good idea of how many different types of cans we have. We got our nice water capsule with refractory, we have tin, we have wax, we have container, what are you using? Aluminum cans, and we have cells. Though we do have vial of ordinary water, but we also have buckets, so I don't think those ones actually affect anything. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of things. 6 if we include the bucket, though no one includes the bucket. Dang buckets. So there are a few options to make sure we get all of that. Option 1, which I don't think I want to go, is to have a bunch of transposers that ticks a bunch of times and only goes, well, ticks the appropriate one, and we have a bunch of barrels or something containing everything. Or we can go Sortron. The advantage of Sortron is it's much more versatile in the computer-controlled aspect. We don't have to, like over here, just tick the transposer a bunch of times. But it is a bit expensive. I haven't made a Sortron yet. So if we check the Sortron right now, it requires a sorting machine, red doped wafers, and a diamond, which isn't too much of a problem. The ribbon cable isn't a problem either, so I think we should go Sortron. Now another thing I'm interested in is whether the Sortron actually is still working, and I'm not sure why this is never saved for me. Gosh, sound, stop making a sound, if it is at all possible. If not, well, you just suck, okay? So, also another thing we should do is have these moved for now so that we can get them restocked in energy. And the wiring, I must say, is a mess, but one thing I'm hoping that we'll be able to do sometime is to, not there, why the heck would I put an empty cell there? I would put it over here. Plop, plop. One thing eventually we're going to want to do is to make another steam boiler. I'm going to up this liquid amount, though this might be, the output we have right now might be enough to satiate 2 boilers at a given time. I'm going to get that out of the way. So that might be the next thing that we want to make, even though it's going to just be kind of an interim thing between projects that we're going to want to do, because we are going to want to have energy, and we'll probably use energy tesseracts to contain all of our bundles of excitement that we are going to obviously get. So let's throw our excess tin in here, and I wish it was in a proper location. Excuse me one moment. For some reason, I think it's bad form to cough while recording. So let's get our tin out of here, and we had diamonds. Okay, I transmuted some gold into diamonds to get the other stuff. Anyway, so item detector, regulator, we don't need any of that. We need a filter. Where the heck did my filter plan go? Piston. Okay, we got the piston. We're going to need to get our filter again, though it seems to have pulled a Houdini on us, which is not exactly something I want my filters to do, Dagnabbit. I guess I could build it manually in the meantime, though that isn't much fun. Sigh. One here, and we're going to need another piece of gold ingot, and which will go here. We got our filter. Hallelujah, praise the Lord, and then we got that there, and sorting machine. And finally, the fun part is we'll get the Sortron. We aren't, I believe there is no point whatsoever in having this as a separate crafting thing. Let's get that out of the way. Because really, when's the next time we're going to build this? And how many are we really going to need? I don't think we'll need too many of these until, that being said, we get into something a little more advanced, though that will take its bloody own time. So, ribbon cables, throw that in, and we get our very first Sortron ever. Yay! So, a Sortron is going to require some tubing, so we should probably get that stuff ready. Tubes. We got enough tubes, Dagnabbit. Oh, please, dear God, I hope Dagnabbit does not become the next thing I say. How much energy is this going to require, really? We seem to have some sort of jam. Let's check that before we move on. Something tells me that is not updating, which is a bit of a shame because I would like to see the copper come up. Okay, let's try this. Really now, copper? Are you going to be that much of a PETA? You are a pain in the arse. Well, at least we do have a lot of copper, so when we get one of our next projects going on, can we make molten copper? I do not know how we actually make molten copper. Do we need a bunch of copper? I am going to test that quickly. We have enough of it, so, and we are going to need more Liquidex eventually, so I'm going to test if this is the method we actually make molten copper. Aha! No, it is not. That is a shame. So what was I doing? Yes, we're going to need a solar panel for now. So let's just steal one singular solar panel. We'll make some more solar panels. Wow, my red power energy is currently severely lacking. I think we are going to need to change that eventually, though I don't think that is going to become a bother right now. Anyway, so Sortron we are going to have here and here. Why not? Go like that, and we'll have it connect. Though, does it connect directly? I do not know. Obviously, it does. And now here is the moment of truth. Address. And we cannot actually change the address of this right now, so that is going to be a bit of a limitation. Not a limitation for this item in particular, but it is going to be a problem with our I/O expanders. As you may or may not know, the only way to change between I/O expanders is to, well, change the I/O expansion, which is very descriptive, I must say, of the item, and thus, well, of the computer rather, and then change it through that. Now, without any of that, that is going to be a real problem, which is going to lead us into our next thing, which is, well, other than getting the chest down, plonk, we're going to need to program this eventually. I'm probably going to start programming that pretty soon. In fact, soon is going to be sooner than I think, because it's going to come soon, and I am really royally messing up my punchlines. Wait, was that supposed to be a joke? Anyway, yeah, let's make some I/O expanders and another computer. Gosh, but we're going to need to get a fourth boot disk, the advanced boot disk. So I'll craft all that stuff. Get ready. We're going to need to change some of our gold into diamonds because we currently do not have enough diamonds for everything, and we are going to need to use the blasted compressor. Maybe we can turn this stuff into diamond blocks. Maybe if we... Well, be right back. Okay, so with a lot of crafting and the kind of waste of a lot of diamonds, what was it? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, it must have been 12. 12 diamonds. Me and my math. We should have everything that we are going to need for our crafting. Now, I might need a few more of those fancy wires later on, but I think this is going to be a good place for our computer. Not quite on the center, but I think it is going to be good. Maybe we will want it on the center, though I do want room for now. So we'll probably focus on that later. Let's see. Say we have another tank below us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this will be in the walkway if we have another tank there, which is not likely to happen. So right here is that. We'll have our monitor on top so we can monitor everything. Shush. And we got our RAM modules, but we also have all of our back planes rather. Wow, I've been saying back panes for as long as I can remember, and only now am I getting it right. So it required a bunch of diamonds. We got our I/O expanders, and we have some wires, which we'll find useful. I don't think we'll need too many extra over these for now. If so, we'll need to make them later on. But hey, did I say you could do that? No, I did not. So we'll want to put away some of our junky stuff. And how is our Sortron? Our Sortron is now up and ready. Still nothing. I hope that gets fixed eventually. And we forgot our disk drive. So that's another thing we're going to need to create before anything else, because it might prove useful. Be right back again. You are not to say anything. Okay, so with our disk drive, we'll plonk it down. I guess we'll place it here. And we'll have our ribbon cables. It's not going to exactly be the neatest thing. We'll want to have something a little better in the future, probably the near future, but for now we'll have it go like this, and it will be connected and be merry and jolly and such and such and such. So we got the Sortron, and the Sortron is good. So to get the Sortron up and ready, we need to use the extended fourth boot disk and boot it up with enough RAM to do so. I believe only 2K is needed. We have overkill here, my friends. And let's check the words that we have. We got sort match, sort damage max at. Those things I haven't. There are a few words that I don't know how to use yet. I'm sure if I know what sort pat and the other ones do, I'd be able to better sort things out, but for now I think we're good. Okay, so we have liquid, and let us focus on a few different things. Let's actually remove our wires here and extend it out so that we have a better range of motion with everything else, considering our extended boot disk. Okay, so I/O expander will also want. And for this initial I/O expander, we're only going to be able to add so many liquids, which is a bit of a pain, I must say, since there is so much I'd want to add, but I guess it is what it is. So we'll add our bundled cables. And we're going to need to get some of the bundled cables over there. So some of this we'll want to put underground, at least a temporary measure, and to make it central to our overall theme, we'll put the underground over here. Now, let's see, what we actually need to access in this are these 2 points. So we need to make sure we can get wires there, and we need to be able to expand it, pardon the pun, at a later date. So let's get this. We'll put some wires down, and this stuff does not need to be there, so we'll get that, and that. Okay, so we'll have bundled wires like that, and this will need to bundle like so, and bundle all the way over here. Who says people don't like bundles? How can you not like this bundle of joy? And then we'll just connect it up like so, and we'll be okay. Now this we'll want to connect as well, which will be simple, and this color of wire will set, let's see, we'll want this one to be a wire as well. This one will set as white. So the retrieval of the cans will be white. That'll be good. Now the other one, I believe, we set in the code that I set up briefly. If we check the wires, magenta. So magenta will connect to this, though it doesn't look like it actually, that's interesting. Doesn't look like it's wire-based, so we're probably going to have to be a bit more lenient with it. So let's see. Like so, hey. This is going to have to connect like that instead, because it doesn't connect otherwise. Might have to do something a little trippy with that, but let's try with this instead. It might be easier to hide later on, and we'll just need to get the magenta wire to go up like so, and then we are prepared. So magenta wire is controlling the valve here. These other wires are going to need to be controlled. I'm saving my orange for later, so we're going to need other colors later. We only need really one of another color. So for our light blue, which is 1, 2, 4, 8, number 8, we'll set this one here and here. And for this one over here, we'll set as the other color. We should have some yellow dye somewhere nearby, so we'll add that in later right there. So our wiring is okay, not complete, but it's okay for now. So we have this booted up, it's okay. Let's get that GUI out of the way, and we're going to need to focus on calling items from the sortron so we can throw it into the liquid transposer. That's one of our primary things that we are going to need to focus on, and it's also something that will be useful later on once we get started on our Recursive Crafter Mark II. That is going to be fun, so let's page this and let's see what type of code we're going to need to do. So I'm not too sure whether many people have actually saw my recursive crafting video, but the main power of that system is that it can call any sort of item just by giving it its name. So what we need to do is make a new word called new item. So by the way, I am going to try to explain this as best as I can for those people who do not know fourth code. So new item. What it's going to need to do is when you do create, you'll give it a name, and then do new item, and it'll be a new item. Wow! Imagine that. So for this, we're going to want 3 cells of space, and we'll want to allot that. And then that word is done. Now, we have to scan in an item. That is easy enough, so I want to check something first. I want to check the sort address we are given to start with, and it starts as a 4, so that's going to be the initial sort address that we will have. So in the future, we're going to need to refer to that some other time, especially if we expand the system at a later time, but we'll focus on that later. So what we need to do is be able to get what an item is, and what item exclamation mark is, it'll assign an item. So it needs the name and the slot that it is in the inventory. So what we need to do is check how many slots there are in there. And if there's nothing in here, or rather if there's something there, what we'll want to do is to do an if statement, which will rotate the numbers and duplicate the name. And we'll do a bit of swapping around so that we basically can get the address. Sorry, sort slot at, I'm getting ahead of myself. What it does is it checks what items or how many number of items there are, and it gives the 2 unique IDs that are there. So for instance, dirt has a unique ID set, and it's 2 numbers. So what we need to do is take those 2 numbers and then save it into the name that we give item exclamation mark. This will become more clear when we move onwards. So one of them we'll want to put in here in the 2 cells, the second location, and the other we'll want to put it in the first location. Otherwise, if there is no item in that slot, what we'll do is drop all the numbers. So there were 3 items at the stack at this point. So we'll drop those numbers, and then we're done. So let's go with something like a can, and we can create the can over here. Let's can it. And this can will just show what happens. So let's put the can here, and we'll put it in slot number 0. It starts at 0, then goes to 26 for this particular inventory. So let's see. We want to get sort slot at 0. Sorry, we want to get from slot 0. So this should give a few numbers on the stack, and the 12 is how many are in there, and those other 2 are the 2 IDs. So let's do item at so that we can pull those 2 IDs when we save it. So item at will be given a name, and then it'll return those 2. So get it from the first, swap it, and get it from the second. And let's wait for that. And there we go. Sorry, plus at. Thank you very much. There we go. So now let's go for that. So as you see, there's 12 cans. So let's make a new item. And it's going to be, what is it called? Tin cans? Or is it just can? Let's go with can. So let's do a new item called can. So create can new item. And it'll create can, which has its own unique address. Let's clear the stack first. So now there's nothing on the stack, and we're okay. So we'll take the name, which is can, and we'll take slot 0, and we'll do item exclamation mark. And now can has that item. So when we do item at for can, we'll see that we have those exact same numbers in the exact same order, so that works. So this will be our reference later, and it's going to be needed when we do a pull item. Pull item will basically take a name, a need, and the slot number, return the name and the need, so the new need, and it'll compare this item for whatever there is. So I'll try to explain it. I'm not too good at it. Sort slot at. So this is a lot of stack rearrangement, so I can't explain the stack rearrangement too much, but we basically check the name of we take the name that we have, that we want rather, and if it matches with what we have there, so if it matches identically, and we do the AND statement to do that, what we want to do is drop a few numbers that we have remaining on the stack, so get basically all the junk numbers out of the way. So to drop, swap, and what we do, so swap, and these next few statements, what it'll do is it'll take it and do a sort pull. Sort pull, so if it matches, it'll pull the items, and if it can, it'll return the name and the need, and the subtraction basically, since sort pull returns how many it actually pulled, this minus shows what we need afterwards. Otherwise, what we'll do is drop the items. So if it doesn't match, we'll just not do a bloody thing and move onwards to the next part. Shall we? I think so. So speaking of which, we should test if this actually works by saying we have 12 cans. Let's pull 8 of them. So we want to get the name, we want the need, we want the slot. So it should pull the item. And it pulled items, we see that. And as you see, 4 remain, 8 are in the liquid transposer, which is not bad at all. So if we do some manual pulling and do a bit of an algorithm research, so to speak, pull that, we're going to want to get some liquid in the tank to match the 8, and we'll do biofuel. Biofuel, that's on. We're not going to use the wire, etc. for that, so now we're getting liquid in the tank since it's allowed. Now what we'll want to do is pull a few cans. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's getting transmitted, and not transmitted there, but into here, and going into the liquid transposer. There were cans. The cans were here. So it's all going into here. Now there is no more items, so we turn this off, turn this off, turn that off, rather, and we need to turn this on again so that it can drain back, because otherwise it's going to stew there forever, which is a bit of a problem. Is it actually draining? Okay, our logic is going to probably need to change somewhat, because obviously this won't drain, but that will go well. So this drains it back into there. This means that this should be accepting now, or rather this is only accepting when that is. And we'll need to change this. Probably individual wires will work, but otherwise it's going to be a real pain. So let's just change this so it's the other way. For now, we'll change it in the future. So let's drain the liquid. So liquid is now drained, and then all we have to do is get the extra liquid from here. Wait, is it going here or there? It's probably going to both. Well, that's a pita. Well, we know it works. We just have to work on our wiring. The wiring is the main thing. We'll have to work on this valve thing so that it actually accepts it in the proper amounts. Maybe have this not so archaic. Why are we even having this? So it can transfer there. We'll need to work it out. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of EEPower. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. We got cans, my friends. We got cans. And that was not what I wanted to do. WayofTime here. Signing off. Yay! Have a wonderful day.